Here we go. Hey, Rolo, last bit on mental point of origin. Do I respect myself be the question to ask yourself before doing anything in life? Well, yeah, but that's not really mental point of origin per se. You might want to develop mental point of origin because you respect yourself. So what I would, when I have talked about mental point of origin, I'll try to give you the quick $2 version of this. Mental point of origin isn't think of yourself first, bro. No, that's not what it is. It's not Tony Robbins. It's not put yourself first. It is you have to become the first thought that comes into your head. That's what mental point of origin is, right? It is literally your mental point of origin. Where do you begin your thought process about what it is that you like? I put it in terms of like decision making, but it can be anything else. It's easier to understand in the terms of decision making. So you're faced with a decision. What's the first thing you think of? Oh, how's my mom going to think about this? What's my girlfriend going to think about this? What's my wife going to think about this? I got a prospect, got a new job, but I'm afraid I might not want to take it because it would mean I'd have to uproot the family and we'd have to move to another state or whatever. And what about my wife's career? What about my wife's family? What about it's everyone except for himself. And this is where I draw the line and where I separate myself from guys who are like success porn hustlers in the tradcon sense. You need to be serviceable. That's that right there is essentially if that's your thing, if that's your grift, if you're like one of these tough guys, like these blue pill alpha guys, and you want to like jump on here's what a real man does, and you'll see Andrew Schultz is going to do pretty much the same thing. If you see that, and you're dealing with a guy who's like this, like dyed-in-the-wool white knight who wants to read Bible scriptures to you as to how you can be a more serviceable guy, how you can be a utility, how you should think of others before you think of yourself, how you can essentially be beholden in an indentured servitude to your wife before anything else. Like those guys, to be a real man is to sacrifice freaking everything. Jesus Christ did it on the cross, so therefore you should sacrifice everything too. Like that is where I separate it. Because what happens is guys get into that mentality and they are less able to provide for their families. They are less able to provide for their kids. They're less able to think about anything except for how whatever the decisions that they make are going to affect their family. And they would say, that's the greatest sin, Rolo. You need to be on your game and you need to think of others before you think of yourself. The problem is enlightened self-interest. I can't help others until I can help myself. I can't help others as well as when I help myself first. Anything that I do, I have, they want to talk about confidence. I have enough confidence in myself to say what I do. And even if it's a mistake, but what I do is I'm going to try to make the best decisions I possibly can for myself because I'm the first thing that I think of when it comes to making those decisions. So when I'm faced with those decisions, I have the confidence at least to say, you know what, whatever I do, I'm going to make sure that eventually down the line, it's going to benefit my family, my friends, whoever else I think is worth benefiting. In fact, you are in a better position to make those assessments with that frame of mind, with that mental point of origin. So it's not just, hey, make yourself first, make yourself number one. That's not it. You literally have to be the first thought. It has to be second nature. It's not selfishness. It's not self-importance, although you should be self-important, but that's not really even what it's all based about. It's about you are the first thing that jumps into your head. And the decisions that you make according to mental point of origin, are going to benefit other people. So what happens is, and this is like the most difficult thing for tradcons to wrap their heads around, is that when you make those decisions for yourself, that you're not doing so because you're a selfish son of a bitch. You're doing so because you know that later on you'll be in a better position to help others. Boom. You helped yourself and therefore you can help others better because you did so in the first place. You didn't sacrifice yourself on the anvil of, commitment to other people, to thinking about that. I was going to say, when we talk about how we raise our boys as if they are defective girls, part of that, I would say the main part of that, like raising boys as defective girls, so where that begins is training boys to think of anything outside themselves first before they make themselves first. That's why. And we train women and girls to do exactly the opposite. You go, girl. You do what's best for you. I think I'm going to steal Rich Cooper's line here. We teach girls to do what's best for you, girl, and we teach men to do the right thing. The right thing is always whatever benefits other people. And usually it's gynocentrism, or it's their mom, or it's their girlfriend, or it's the potential girlfriend that they might have down the road if they make decisions that put them in a position where they can find that girl in the first place. That's how mental point of origin works. We train boys to think of anything outside of themselves as priori. What is it? More important than themselves. That's your biggest fucking problem. You want to know why we have the Lost Boys generation? You want to know why we have like guys who are like incels, guys who they want to be vulnerable, and they want to have everything, they want to do, even Steven, and we all want to be egalitarians and everything. You know why egalitarianism appeals to young men in Gen Z and the latter half of the millennial generation? It's exactly that. It's training those generations from the time Johnny was 5 fucking years old to put everything before himself. And now you get the participation trophy generation who doesn't know what to do with themselves. You wonder why these guys are lost and rudderless in life? That's why. You want to know why they follow Jordan Peterson? Because he's the loudest voice that sounds like he might know something that's going on. You want to know why people follow me or Andrew Tate or Kevin Samuels or any of these other guys who are online? That's why. Because they are the product of teaching guys to think of anything outside of themselves as more important than themselves. So along comes Andrew Tate and says, get up off your ass and go out there and do something. Rollo Tomasi comes around and he tells you about the iron rules of Tomasi, right? You got Kevin Samuels holding women accountable, and guys want to put themselves into the position. They want to live vicariously through Kevin Samuels. You're average at best. They would love to be able to say that. Why? Because they've always put other people or other interests, and usually women, in their mental point of origin. That's why.